Welcome everyone. Oh, very loud. Welcome everyone to the. Is it on? Welcome everyone to the 26th anniversary ceremony of the Grafton Peace Pagoda, and welcome distinguished monks and nuns, and welcome to our distinguished guest, Mr. Yi. Today we will, in addition to celebrating the 26th anniversary of the pagoda, we're also celebrating the 150th anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. So before we begin the Buddhist ceremony, we'll say a few words about Gandhi and remember the idea of nonviolence in our hearts. So, my name is Lex Bagat, and I'm from Albany. I know many of you from Peace Walks. I've walked with many of you across New York, and I've also walked with Junsan across India, which is the land of Gandhi, and with her brothers, the Nipponzan Myohoji brothers, Morita Shoni and her sister Katsu Anju-san. So it's very fitting that here at this Grafton Peace Pagoda today, and that this Grafton Sangha will be honoring Gandhi, because the monks and nuns of Nipponzan Myohoji have done such a tremendous job of honoring Gandhi for the last 50 years in India and around the world. They honor him every day at the Rajghat and in Varda at the Gandhi Ashram. Mahatma Gandhi was born on October 2nd, 1869. That's 150 years ago next Tuesday, in the coastal town of Porbandar, located in the princely state of Porbandar in the British Empire, which is now in the modern state of Gujarat. You might not remember it, but it is very important to know that Gandhi studied law in London. Gandhi is a teacher of true universal culture because he tried to adopt the universalism that was offered to him by Western civilization. He tried it on, and he discovered that for the colonized it only offered costumes and masks. And he took off those costumes in order to find a more universal human culture. So I'll just quote one of the scholar Thomas Merton about what he said about Gandhi's studies in England and how this influenced the way that he had found universal culture. One of the great lessons of Gandhi's life remains this: through the spiritual traditions of the West, he, an Indian, discovered his Indian heritage with his own right mind, and in his fidelity to his own heritage and its spiritual sanity, he was able to show men of the West and of the whole world a way to recover their own right mind in their own tradition, thus manifesting the fact that there are certain indisputable and essential values, religious, ethical, ascetic, spiritual, and philosophical, which man has everywhere needed and which he has in the past managed to acquire, values without which he cannot live, values which are now in large measure lost to him, so that, unequipped to face life in a fully human manner, he now runs the risk of destroying himself entirely. This lesson of Gandhi's life is something that we're practicing here at the Peace Pagoda, and that we practice all around the world at the Peace Pagodas. Speak a little louder, the back says, so if anybody can't hear me, let me know. This lesson of Gandhi's is something that we practice in all the Peace Pagodas, that Nipponzan Myohoji teaches us all to recover this spiritual unity. So there are many lessons of Gandhi's life, and this time, this year, this Gandhi at 150 is a time for us to grapple with all of them. We are now at the halfway point. Tuesday is Gandhi's 150th birthday, but this is actually the halfway point of the worldwide Gandhi at 150 celebration, which began a year ago. It's a 2-year celebration that was called for by the government of India. And it would be beyond unfortunate if this commemoration of Gandhi's 150th year is marked by a war between India and Pakistan, or if the repression of Kashmir, which is going on right now, the repression of Kashmir's Muslim population, should escalate into an ethnic cleansing or genocide. So I urge everyone who's here, as we think about Gandhi and his lesson, we pay attention to what is going on in Kashmir right now and what we can do in our own prayers and actions. So I'm going to read one more quote from Gandhi, which was, because Gandhi would not be surprised about what is going on right now. He would not be surprised of the interaction between Modi and the people of Pakistan this past week and the people of Kashmir. Because, as he said in 1946, so far as I can see, the atomic bomb has deadened the finest feeling that has sustained mankind for ages. There used to be so-called laws of war, which made war tolerable. Now we know the naked truth. War knows no law except that of might. The atom bomb brought an empty victory to the Allied arms, but it resulted, for the time being, in destroying the soul of Japan. What has happened to the soul of the destroying nation is yet too early to see. We are that nation. We are here grappling with what has happened to our soul, and what is our position and our responsibility to all of humanity now that nuclear weapons are here, and how we must abolish them in the world. So I urge everyone here to continue praying for the end of nuclear weapons, as we always do, but also for peace in Kashmir. So a few more facts about Gandhi before we turn over to the Buddhist ceremony. In 1877, young Gandhi started school, grade school. He was 7 years old. He studied arithmetic, history, the Gujarati language, and the English language. It was the same year that Queen Victoria was declared the Empress of India. So we can imagine, as a young schoolboy, her face being placed on the walls of the schools where she was studying. In 1883, he was 13. Is there any 13-year-olds here? 14-year-olds? Anyone here is 13 or 14? No? Well, remember yourself when you were 13 or 14, and he married his wife, Kasturba, when he was 13 and she was 14. 3 years later, they had their first child. The baby only lived a few days, and the couple was quite distraught. It affected them for a long time. And then a year later, their first son, Harilal, was born, but Gandhi left the family to study in England. He studied law for 3 years and returned to India in 1891, where he made a very modest living for a London educated lawyer. And so he did what many men in the British Empire would do, which is to get on a ship and go across the sea to make his fortune. So Gandhi, at the age of 23, set sail for Africa. He was invited by a businessman from his community who had a business in South Africa to come and be his lawyer. And in Africa is where Gandhi lived for 21 years, practicing law and practicing civil disobedience, discovering racial discrimination and political action, raising a family